Many children aren't seeing their grandparents like in the olden days, and grandparents want to see children, and it delights them and brings joy into their life, and it creates purpose.
24 years ago, teacher Anne-Maria Antonio led her grade 3s from Wattle Park Primary along the main road to a shiny new building next door, a retirement village called Cameron Close.
It was a brand new building with a grand piano, a billiard table, and we were allowed to wander around. And yes, there was the reading program, but there was so much more. These people had so much to share.
Good to see you. Come on, come and sit down.
With a limited budget and a focus on tapping into the local community, Anna Maria saw an opportunity to bridge the gap between old and young with a weekly reading program.
Hello, Audrey. Hello, Claire.
A program that's still going on today.
Okay, let's go.
One morning, a cat saw a bird in a tree. Hello, bird, she said.
Now, this story is all about a new bed.
The program is more than a reading program, and yes, we call it the Cameron Close Reading Program, but it's always been so much more than a reading program. It's a connection with our neighbours. It's a connection of the younger and the older coming together and sharing the love of life.
Some money.
That's right.
They often say that it takes a village to raise a child. And my view is that it actually takes children to make a village like this, which is for retired people, healthy. So you could say that most of us have got hearing aids in. And
Judy Dunn is the coordinator for the program at Cameron Close.
How I would do a program like this was to call them listeners, because children are not listened to enough, I believe, in our society. They listen a lot. They listen to TV, they listen on their iPads and whatnot. They don't get listened to enough. And so I said, how about we call you listeners? So the word volunteer has never been used. So all the literature from then on was listeners. And it took off.
Now, what books have you bought today?
I got them.
Not only did it take off, it flourished.
What was he sitting in?
A wheelchair.
He was sitting in a wheelchair.
It's a learning experience that goes both ways, an education that extends far beyond books to special relationships that can't be quantified.
Right. When you get to my age, there's not a lot of things you can do. And it's nice to feel that you're helping and that you're not useless.
I think in the last few weeks we're seeing some lovely connections between the listeners and the children, and the discussion's getting broader, which is what we're promoting. So the connection is strong both ways, I believe, because the children talk about the listeners and the listeners certainly talk about the children.
Have you seen meerkats before?
No.
No? Oh, yeah, we talk about lots of different things, and the books sort of lead to different questions. Gary was reading a book about elephants last week, and I'd just come back from South Africa, so I showed him some pictures of some elephants.
We had a discussion on what life was like when I was young, which was a long time ago. And they asked me the questions and I answered them. Fancy.
Oh, the listeners gain so much from the reading program. They see the growth that the children make with their reading, but they get to know their personalities. And they also gain so much joy in the relationship that they develop with them and the innocence that there is, because the children just say it as it is. So they'll say, "What's that thing growing on your face?"
And from one of the little students I had the other day, she said, "Do I mind if she drew me?" So she drew this picture, and I said, "That's lovely." She said, "No, I couldn't fit in all your wrinkles."
I like reading to Betty, and I also really like reading, and it's good because I get to learn.
Right.
The mud is too sticky.
It was sticky.
What began as a simple reading program has developed into a way of life where age has no boundaries.
And I look at the smiles on the children, the smiles on the listeners, all the very serious listening that's going on and the very serious reading. But it's true interaction, intergenerational interactions that are healthy and warming and fun.
Louder!
Was that loud enough? My eardrum.